Today we're going to show you how to make your own berry soil. And we're going to show you how to do this for two reasons. And the first reason is because berry plants actually require a certain type of soil. They need really acidic soil. And the second reason is it's hard to find soil bags that really say design or specific for berry plants. Now by now you're probably wondering, what berry plants does this actually work for? Well, I'm going to tell you, this is pretty much all fruit bearing plants or anything with berries on them. This will work and help you get all the fruit that you could ask for. Now, if you don't believe me, these are my blueberry bushes, and yes, it's wintertime when I'm showing you this video, so they're not all pretty, but they are all grown in this same soil mixture that I'm about to go over here. And I've also done over here are raspberries and blackberry bushes. They are all done the exact same way. I even use this same exact soil mixture for our DIY strawberry tower, and I've even potted all our strawberry plants in them too. Now, if this is one of your very first times seeing our videos, well, just know that we actually show you how to grow your own food, specifically fruit-bearing plants, because we actually ship them to your door. Okay, that's enough of that. You came here because you wanted to see the soil mixture, so I'm gonna show you how easy it is and how you can do this right at your house too. So in order for you to make your own soil, you're gonna need these three ingredients, and I'm gonna show you them right here. And I'll actually hold them in my hand so you know exactly what to buy when you go to the store. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is actually something called pine bark mulch. And it's not just any pine bark mulch. It's not the pine nuggets or anything like that. This is really broken down pine bark mulch itself. And it just basically puts aeration in the soil and makes sure that soil doesn't get real hard. And it actually allows that water to start dripping down all the way down to the bottom of your pot to get to the bottom layer of those roots. Now, I have had people say they have had difficulties finding that really very fine, detailed pine bark mulch that I just showed you. They've been able to find the pine bark nuggets and those bigger chips, but they ain't been able to find that detailed stuff. So if you can't find it, it can be labeled under certain different things. And one thing I have found it labeled under is a thing called soil conditioner. It's really some pine bark mulch chopped up even better than that. But that one bag right there just allows the acidity levels to get where they need to be, and it also allows for that soil aeration too. But the most important thing I use whenever I'm making my soil mixture is stuff called Black Cow. You can find this stuff at Lowe's or Home Depot and pretty much any big box store here on the East Coast and Southeast Coast. But up north and Midwest is kind of tough to come by, and if you can't find it, you actually can find another organic compost that is in your area, and it might be under a different bag or label. That yellow bag right there is actually responsible for feeding your plants for the next 6 months. That one thing can actually make sure it thrives whenever you get this thing first planted. And the last thing you need is peat moss, and you can find it in these 3 cubic feet compressed bags. It's pretty heavy, but when you open it up, this is the stuff, and this is what it looks like. This stuff right here is actually going to help you retain the moisture, and a lot of things are grown in this right here, and you can find pretty much peat moss in a lot of bags already that you can find right at your local hardware stores or big box stores too. So yeah, you really only need those 3 things in order to make sure your berry plants are really thriving. But let me show you how to mix it all up. Okay, the best way to explain this is to grab you one pot, one gallon pot, because that's probably the easiest way to scoop this stuff up. But if you can't scoop it, you can always pour it into your pot as well. But essentially, you're using one pot as your measurement for your stuff. If you ain't got a pot, you can use a shovel. But for this example, I'm showing you a pot. And essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to take one pot and fill it all the way up with pine bark mulch. Once you got it all the way filled up, that is your first part. That is your 1/3 parts of your soil mixture. So consider this 1/3. And after you got your 1/3 pretty much in this pot, we're going to dump it in this larger container here because we're going to need this in order to mix it all up. So after you drop your 1/3, it's time to add another third of this stuff. So we're going to add one whole pot of actual Black Cow too. And once you have it completely topped off, you want to dump that straight in there too. So honestly, if you're good at fractions, then you know there's only 1/3 left. And that also means that we just need to add one whole pot of peat moss, because that'll equal our final third to our soil mixture. And this may take a while because this stuff is a lot lighter to actually put in the pot. And you can actually push it down a lot in there too. So I always try to just make sure I stuff it down in there because it's a lot lighter. And then once I got my full third, I'm gonna drop it in there. So what you want to do is actually mix it all up nice and even. And you actually do want to take a little bit of your time and do this right. Because then if you don't do it right, what will essentially happen is you'll just have peat moss randomly heavy in one spot, and then you have cow manure heavily in one spot. So the best thing to do is just mix it up really well. And that makes everything very even. And you'll know exactly when everything looks even. Because this is what it should look like when it's all said and done. It should look very, very good. I actually like the way it looks whenever I get it fully mixed up. Okay, now that you got it all mixed up, you are ready to actually plant your berry plants. And if you want to plant your berry plants, this is what you need to do first. I can tell you that just because you got it mixed up doesn't mean you're fully ready for your berry plants. Fill it up about halfway, just like this right here, and then you're going to want to water this thing. You want to get that lower level slam full and soak down for the first time with water. Then you want to put a berry plant in there, and then you want to cover it up with the remaining soil to cover it all up, and then water it again once you've got it done. Now really and truly, it is that simple. This stuff works like magic whenever you go putting your fruit bearing plants in it. I actually set up these strawberry plants a few weeks ago, and I have not watered them since I had initially soaked them and got them ready and got them established. And now this is what they look like. So again, you can do this with any berry plants you decide you want to grow in. So if you can put that same soil mixture directly in your raised garden beds or your larger containers to get ready for springtime to grow your berries. Now, if you're not growing them in a container or you decide to put them in the ground, you can always use that same soil mixture after you dug your hole to put down there in order to help feed those plants, to help get them established whenever they get to their new home. So you can always use this soil mixture in containers or even in the same hole where you're planning on planting your fruit bearing plants. And lastly, if you made it all the way to the very end and you're still having doubts that soil mixture actually works, just know that every one of my plants have been started with that same exact soil mixture. So I know it works, and I know it'll work for you too.